It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
One just has to pick up a magazine or turn on a television to see that we, as women, are bombarded daily with media images of female physical perfection, leaving us with the most unrealistic of expectations as to how we should look. No wonder female body confidence is failing while incidents of eating disorders are on the rise. What's most alarming is the way this affects young girls. A reduced sense of self-worth can create anxiety, stress, even depression, causing relationship issues while potentially impairing academic and job performance. In direct contrast, Confidence in Bloom is designed to send the opposite message to any woman of any age, shape, or background who has ever felt inadequate, unworthy, or tossed aside because of how she looks. You matter. You are enough now. I, Tina Spoletini, a woman of substance, insist that women deserve to be happy, confident, successful, not to mention so totally in love with themselves and their bodies, just the way they are. Through an ongoing series of intriguing conversations with women from all walks of life who are all extraordinary in their own right, I will take us on a journey of ultimate self-acceptance and empowerment. Together we'll share the stories, laugh, learn, maybe even shed a few tears when you realize how far many women have come to realize just how wonderful life is when you stand in your own power, feeling fantastic in your own skin. After years of having her self-esteem battered by the corporate boys club while dealing with stage 4 endometriosis, Emma Polette ditched her six-figure corporate career in Sydney, Australia, and moved to Albany, Western Australia, in 2012 to start her multi-passionate business. Emma is a personal trainer, yoga teacher, reiki master, and creator of the certified Body Love Coach program, the Body Love Academy. As she likes to say, she's a woman with a big belly and a big heart, and she's on a mission to help women love themselves more every day. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're in Australia. This is, so here in Canada, it's our late spring, early summer season. What season are you in now?
Well, we would say we're in winter, and it's the early stages of winter, but yesterday kind of reminded us we were in winter. And I know it's nothing like a Canadian winter, but it's still cold.
Oh, yeah, I know. Cold is cold. No, whatever you're used to, right? Whatever cold is for you, it can be just as cold here as there. I was in Australia.
That's right, exactly.
I was in Australia about 2000, in the year 2000, and it was May. So for us, it was like, springtime, and there it was like, I think it was like end of summer, early fall at the time, and they said it was freezing. And so my husband and I had gone for a walk, and we were like, oh, my gosh, it's so cold, right? But going outside for a walk in the sun, we were taking off all our clothes, but the houses were freezing. We couldn't figure out how that worked. I loved Australia.
I think
it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And I think that you've just picked the one thing we're not great at, which is building houses that deal with warmth and cold. Like, we're always either too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
The small thing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me something. What are you celebrating this week for yourself?
I am celebrating that I've read lots of books this year, and I think this weekend I read my 40th book for the year. And I've really made a decision this year to sort of rest more, because I've always been, and I think a lot of women are, that's, the sort of person that feels like unless I'm doing something, I'm not worthy kind of thing. So I've decided that sometimes I'm allowed to just lie on the couch and read a book, even if there's tidying up to do. Like, I'm allowed to just rest And so, yeah, I'm proud of the 40 books I've read so far this year, and I'm going to read more. I'm really loving it.
That's awesome. And do you actually, like, read them, like, with the actual book, or are you listening by audio?
Both. So that's part of the reason why I've read so many, because I usually have at least 2 books on the go, so one that I'm listening to and one that I'm reading.
Wow, that's awesome. 40. That's unbelievable. That's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
How do you celebrate you and your wins now? How will you celebrate that?
This is something that I'm really struggling with, and I always have. I'm not really good at sitting down and celebrating. I think in the past I would have probably had a glass of wine, and I probably would have then had 3 glasses of wine. And beginning of 2021, I gave up drinking because I could feel that it was a bit of a issue for me. So I'm still working on the celebrating part. Like I'm not 100% sure what to do, but I'm really glad that you've asked the question, because that reminds me that, there is something to celebrate. I guess the other thing I do is I do write in my gratitude journal most nights. And so if something big's happened, I at least acknowledge it, but I don't know if that's the same as celebrating it.
Yeah, I think it depends on, how big the celebration you want, right? I mean, reading 40 books and it's not even halfway through the year, really, I think that's amazing. Potentially you could read 80 books by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean,
yeah.
A celebration doesn't have to be a party with, 2 bottles of wine. It can be, an extra hour in the bathtub, right? It could be, sitting out in nature, just sitting and enjoying and feeling the air, right? It could be anything that you enjoy.
Yeah.
How do you define...
that's true.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a lag, I think. So I'm sorry that I keep cutting you off, because I don't mean to. I think the long distance is difficult. Yeah.
How
do you define self-confidence, Emma?
I think self-confidence is just that kind of inner knowing that even if you make mistakes, you're still worthy. And I think that a lot of women hold themselves back from trying things because they're worried about making a mistake. And so I think that's what inner confidence is, or self-confidence is knowing that you're allowed to try things and you're allowed to make mistakes, and you're allowed to also not make mistakes, try something and make it work. And just knowing that that's okay whether it is successful or not. And so it's not being arrogant. It's not saying I'm the best at everything, but it's kind of saying I'll have a go, and I quietly believe in myself. And I think that's what inner, self-confidence is.
Yeah, I like that because, do you think it's important to have self-confidence?
I really do. And, I might get up on my high horse a little bit here, but I feel like that's a big difference between, men and women, is that, so many women I see are just really afraid to try things because they're afraid of getting it wrong and they don't have that self-confidence. And so that's part of the reason why we have this kind of patriarchal world we live in, because men in general don't have that worry. They'll try anything and put themselves out there more than women will. So I think it really is important for women to do what they can to build their self-confidence, so they do put themselves out there and they do make change in the world.
Sure. It's been generations that we've always had to stand behind the men, right? And now that's starting to change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some tips? What are some of the tips that you can share to our listeners on being more confident?
Personal trainer and yoga teacher, I would say that exercise has a really big role in self-confidence, because it not only gives you all the feel-good hormones, and I know that, if you don't, some people don't like exercise, but when you have done that exercise, maybe if you've walked a bit longer than you normally would, and you feel those kind of feel-good hormones kick in, you start to feel good about yourself. So that can be really helpful. And also, because it's helping you become healthier and your body's working better. It just generally helps to increase levels of happiness, and I think that is something that breeds self-confidence. And I think the other thing about exercise is it can, as I said, it can be challenging for some people, but overcoming challenges is a really great way to build self-confidence. So if you can, start small with an exercise program and build yourself up and maybe end up going to a class or challenging yourself in a way that you weren't expecting to, that's something that's going to build your self-confidence too. So I can really see that exercise can play a big role in building it.
I agree, especially when it comes to body self-confidence. But I think most people, when we know we can exercise and we can get through, some kind of class or workout regime, I think that just makes us feel like, oh, I can do that, right? And that gives us that confidence. Yeah. What do you feel or believe is the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem?
I think that self-esteem is knowing that you're worthy, no matter what you look like or what you do in the world, that you show up and you are worthy. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with because they think, I need to do this, and that, and then I'll be worthy. But in reality, you're worthy just because you opened your eyes this morning and you got out of bed, or even if you can't get out of bed, you're still worthy, right? And so that's what self-esteem is that kind of that worthiness. And then self-confidence is showing the world that you believe that you're worthy. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, but it's just that kind of inner knowing that, yes, I've gotten up today, I've woken up today. That means that I'm a worthy person and I'm willing to put myself out there. I think that's the big difference.
Right. I totally agree. Do you think you could fake self-confidence?
I think you can. And I sometimes think it's important to. And I'll say that because I know that say if I'm having a bad day, it's so funny, quite often people will go, oh my gosh, I really love your lipstick. And in my head I'm thinking, this is my self-confidence lipstick. This is the one I'm wearing because I don't feel that confident today. And I'm faking it till I make it kind of thing. And so I think, in short bursts, faking it is okay. And I think we've all done it before. But I think long-term self-confidence, faking it doesn't really work. Like I sort of think about back to the lipstick, that fakeness will last as long as your lipstick will last kind of thing. So I think it's important to build it genuinely, but it's also at the same time okay to kind of fake it till you make it as well. But yeah, long-term faking I think comes across as it can come across as arrogance when you're faking it. So I think it's not something you want to do long-term.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really wear a lot of lipstick, right? But when I am having one of those days, that lipstick definitely does come out.
And I think that's why people mention it to me, because they say, oh, your lipstick looks great, because I don't wear lipstick that often either. So it's people they're noticing, and I think it's funny.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like we should be saying, oh, are you having a bad day today?
Yeah, exactly.
Notice, right?
What's up with the lipstick?
Instead of, how are you? People don't really answer how are you honestly half the time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
What will you do today to make tomorrow better?
I think one of the gifts that I've been given is teaching yoga classes. And so I teach a yoga class 4 times a week, so I'll teach one today. And I think that makes the world a better place because it really helps them with their self-confidence because they're exercising. It helps them with their mindfulness. It helps them with their relaxation and giving themselves, just even if it's an hour, some time for them. And I think that really helps to make the world a better place because then they feel great and then they start to pass those good vibes on, or they're a little less cranky with their kids, or, whatever. So it creates that little bit of a ripple effect. So that's what I'm going to do today to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and that's huge, right? Knowing that you've just changed, 4 to 8 women's lives, right, within that 5.
Yeah.
Well, within a yoga class. Yoga class is like what, 50 minutes, 60 minutes?
Yeah, my classes are about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's huge, right? And we all need that every once in a while. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think your fashion style says about you?
I really do love colour. So I remember when I used to work in the corporate world, everything was black, and I used to wear black pants every day. And so it felt really good to be able to walk out of that environment and go, I can wear whatever I want. And I remember actually that my colleagues at work, they gave me a handbag when I left, and they said, we were going to give you a black one, but we decided to give you this one instead. And it was a bright yellow handbag, which I'd never had a yellow handbag before. It was beautiful. And so I love to be able to wear colour. But I would find it hard to use the word stylish for me, because I wear active wear a lot of the time, because I teach classes and I have personal training clients and all of that. So I'd love to find a way, and maybe you'll need to help me find a way to sort of combine style with this active wear that I've got to wear every single day. So,
right.
Yeah, I guess I show my style mostly through colour, but I don't know if I'd call myself stylish.
Well, that's your style. So my little tip for that is jewelry and accessories. Wear colorful shoes and sweaters, and, put like fancy earrings on, make you feel good, but dress up your outfit.
Yeah,
I'm a big jewelry fanatic.
Yeah.
So I put jewelry with everything. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
Okay,
right?
cool. I'll figure out that. Yeah,
that will dress anything up. I have one more question. What do you do to cheer yourself up if you're feeling down?
Well, one thing, of course, I've mentioned is the lipstick thing. So it's true. Like, I really do. I love playing with makeup. So that's one thing. Can I say three things?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. The second thing is, like, I just make sure I spend time with my dog. So I don't have children, so he's like my child, but he's just a real snuggly, cuddly dog, and I just, of course, love him so much. So just spending time with him always makes me feel better. And then the third thing would be I'm a super fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, I just love that show. So I'll just find an old episode that I like and put that on, and that always makes me feel better as well.
Oh, that's funny. I've never seen it, but my daughter watches it, and she always used to talk about it. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's great, because I've seen like little bits and pieces of him, and he sounds like entertaining.
I'm in awe of RuPaul, because he's very entertaining, and sometimes he's a she. Like, he's the she thing. I don't know. I was going to say the she seems more entertaining, but that's not true. But you talk about self-confidence and self-esteem. He just shows up in a way that's not arrogant, but just like he knows that he's got talent, and he does. He has a lot of different talents. So not only does it make me happy because of all the color and all the makeup and all the costumes, but I think watching someone like RuPaul is very inspiring as well, because he has that really great balance of self-confidence and self-esteem without being overly arrogant. So he's a good role model as well.
Oh, that's great. I never thought of it like that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much today for joining me. I enjoyed speaking with you. Of course, I've known you for a few years now. And I found you when you had your own Body Love podcast. So I don't know how long ago that was. I don't think you have it anymore. Am I right?
Yeah, so I restarted a podcast last year, slightly different. It's called The Big Bellied Yogi, and you can find it on where you get podcasts. But a close friend of mine was diagnosed with cancer last year, and so I was caring for her, and it just felt too much to do a podcast as well, because you know what it's like. It's kind of showing up every week, or very regularly, regardless of what else is going on in your life, and it felt a bit too much. Yeah. But in my head, I'm thinking, I want to get back to it. So hopefully that will come back sometime soon.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Thank you again for coming. I enjoyed our talk. I wish you so much luck with your training and your yoga and your Reiki and all that you do. And maybe we'll have a chat again sometime soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Tina.
Yes, it was great. Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, the confirmation that you're an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman, even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel. The truth is, they don't even look like that. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. Chic definitely does come in every shape. So if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom and chat with me, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.